All right. This is not a ride sharing video. This is not a ride sharing video. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Today, we're going to be asking a question in regards to former President Trump, number 45, and the military. Now, many of you, virtually all of you, have probably heard in the news over the last few weeks that we have had a host of devices shot down that were flying over this country. We heard about the Chinese spy balloon of sorts, but there's also been a few other smaller objects shot down over Canada, shot down over the Great Lakes, and things of that nature. So in regards to today's live, we're going to be asking a question because apparently the Pentagon has stated that under President Trump, there were a number of these devices flying over the United States, and it appears as if they did not tell the president. So how does the military view President Trump? There are rumors circulating, and I'm going to be first to make it clear. This is speculation. No one knows if this is the truth or not. Nevertheless, we did hear under the Trump administration with General Milley in office, he contacted his Chinese counterpart and let them know that if Trump gave strong orders to essentially commit some sort of a military incursion on China, they could be assured that this general would not follow the orders. So how does the military view President Trump? Is President Trump viewed as a threat to national security? Is he viewed as a cowboy that may go off the hands? Or is the military itself wrong for what they did to the former president? But there is no denying, as we continue painting the picture on what's going on with these spy craft going across the United States, that this happened under Trump. It took place under Trump, and it appears as if the former president was not even given a chance, not even advised of what was going on, or given a chance to even render a decision on what we should do. Why would the military keep the commander-in-chief out of the loop of an adversary potentially sending a spy device over America? Now, going straight to the comments, that's Lies says, I got to get my tablet out. Forgive me, folks, so I can read these comments. Who said that was Lies? Says Kylie Beasley. Feel free to elaborate on what part of it is a lie. We'd love to hear that. They knew Trump would overreact, says Imkley Buddy. And that's what it appears to be, that members of the military, some of the top brass, believed that if they told President Trump what China was doing, essentially spying on the U.S., that Trump may overreact. Now, many folks, particularly my beloved MAGA, would suggest that under President Trump, we never got into a military, any kind of military conflict of sorts. So is it possible that if China was caught spying on the U.S., Trump would have ordered something militarily? By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 5,000 likes. As I say in every program, I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. Nevertheless, this is always a MAGA-friendly program. Liberals are welcome, but MAGA are my preferred guests. So, is the military viewing former President Trump, or what could be future President Trump as well? Do they believe he cannot be trusted with the utmost levels of American security? All right, going straight to the box. Jeff, 1987. Good afternoon. Welcome. So what is it? I mean, do you believe that they deliberately kept information from President Trump?
No, absolutely not. I honestly think, even like you just said, even if he overreacts, there's no way China would do this to Trump. No way.
Well, but the Pentagon is saying
way.
that this, yeah, but the Pentagon is actually saying that there were these devices over the country during the Trump administration. You think they're lying?
Absolutely.
Why would they do that?
And even if he did overreact, I mean, it's protecting the country. I
Right.
mean, you know what I mean? Like,
But why
I
would
honestly think. Wait, say that. I'm
but
sorry.
why would the Pentagon lie and say that this was taking place under Trump as well?
I mean, I'm a Trump guy. I'm a Republican, but I really don't think. I mean, to answer your question more, I don't think people view Biden as a strong president. I mean,
Okay.
look at what China's doing. I mean, they're basically, I mean, messing with us, to put it
Right.
easy. You know what I
But
mean?
let
Like,
me ask you, let me tackle that in regards to President Biden being viewed as a weak president militarily on the world stage. I've heard that numerous times. How do you see someone like Vladimir Putin, who did not do anything under the Trump administration, deciding to go into the Ukraine under the Biden administration, and by reports have lost over 100,000 Russian soldiers due to the assistance of President Biden in this war? Do you think President, or better yet, Vladimir Putin, do you think he views President Biden as a weak leader?
of absolutely. There's no if and buts about it. I mean, Vladimir Putin, yeah, he's a communist and everything else, but the one thing about him that I can honestly say is that the man is not afraid to do anything. You know what I mean?
So,
And I think that this country, and especially this administration that we're under, is more afraid to not get the likes of the people than to protect the people that dislike them, if that makes sense.
yeah. So when Vladimir Putin decided back in February of last year to go invade the Ukraine, viewing Biden as a weak leader, do you think he saw us responding the way we did, the way we have? Do you think he anticipated he might lose 100,000 soldiers dealing with the Ukraine?
No, I don't think he anticipated us doing. I don't think he anticipated us taking the back of Ukraine like that. But at the same time, I mean, I really don't think Putin threw everything he's got at Ukraine either.
I agree with that. But if he did not anticipate this, if he didn't anticipate the way America has responded under President Biden, then wouldn't that mean that Biden has actually performed in a more stronger manner towards Russia than what they originally anticipated?
Yes, to
Okay.
answer to that question, yes. But at the same time, I think if Putin were to call on the Chinese or Putin were to call North Korea and try to rally up troops, I honestly believe with this administration we'd have a hard time.
Well, you do realize that Vladimir Putin threatened the Biden administration several months ago that if you continue helping the Ukraine, the United States could face great consequences. And Biden responded by stepping up the amount of aid to the Ukrainians.
Yeah, I do. I realize that, and I just don't feel that Putin. I don't feel like Putin wants that
Smoke.
war, that smoke.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants it because at the end of the day, I think the United States would defeat him. But if he were to call on different adversaries like North Korea, China, and people like that, I think it'd be a hard time for the United States, especially under this administration.
Yeah, but the thing I guess where you're leaving me kind of baffled is you're admitting that Biden has done a lot more damage to the Russians, overperformed their expectations of him, but at the same time they see him as weak. I mean, if I get into a fight with you and I think you're going to be an easy victory, and all of a sudden you hit me on the face on every blow, how could I walk away assuming you're still weak?
I mean, you got a point, but at the same time, do we know for a fact that Russia's given everything they got?
Well, we
I
know that
mean, like honestly, the man doesn't care about lives. He will
yeah, but
rally up troops
I don't.
and do whatever he's got to do to win. So that's the question I ask: is do you think or believe that he's done everything he possibly can to win his war?
No, absolutely not. I would agree with you that Putin has not done anywhere near the full might of the Russian military. However, we're talking about the Ukrainians. The fact that he actually has to consider stepping up his power shows that with American assistance, the Ukrainians are putting up a far greater fight than he originally anticipated. Just like when we went into Iraq. We didn't expect to have to use the full might of the U.S. military. We thought it would be a pushover. What I'm saying is that because of the Biden administration, because of Biden's assistance, the Ukrainians are putting up a far greater fight than Putin anticipated. I mean, this war is a year long. You think Putin
Okay.
anticipated a year?
Well, okay. Well, subtract the American forces out of the Ukraine. Do you really think that Putin can take on? I mean, Ukraine can take on Putin by themselves?
No, no.
All right. So, I mean, we've given everything we've not everything we've got, but we've given a lot to them, and I really personally, I really don't think we're that far ahead like people think.
That far ahead from what angle?
As far as if they were to say that Ukraine is we, I'm going to say we because without us they can't win. So I don't think that we are as far ahead as winning than people believe we are. Because I really
Well,
don't, like I said,
but
I don't
think
think that
about what you,
Putin has
yeah, but
given
think
everything
about
he's
what you
got.
just said. Think about what you just said. You asked, do you believe Russia has really resorted to their full might against the Ukrainians? And I told you, no, Russia has not used the full strength of their military. However, we could also counter because America is the greatest assistant to the Ukrainians. Do you believe America has given the full might of their assistance to the Ukrainians?
No, I don't, but I think they've showed out a lot of different things. I think they've tested a lot of different things that they wanted to test. I think they're using this war to test different type of tactical responses.
So, at the end of the day, do you think that America is benefiting at all from this war, such as killing Russian soldiers, destroying Russian equipment, making Putin possibly weaker? Do you see any benefits to America from this?
Do you mean as America as like you and I citizens?
I mean,
Because I can answer that two
countries.
ways. I mean,
Yeah, not on the citizen level. The average citizen rarely ever benefits from war. I mean, on a power level, United States versus Russia. Do you see America benefiting from the fact that Russia's losing a hell of a lot of soldiers, a lot of equipment, and we have revealed that their military might is nowhere near as strong as we originally thought? Do you see any benefits to America from that?
uh, not really. No.
Okay,
I
fair
mean,
enough.
if we're doing, if we're doing most of the work, no. But if you want to talk about America, I think America is made up of all the citizens, you and I. And
Mhm.
personally, I don't think any of us are benefiting. I mean, we're spending more money. We're losing, like, everything is going up. I mean, the cost of goods in this country has gone up because of that.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
gotta move
So
it on.
I don't think
I
we're
gotta move it
benefiting at
on.
all.
Yeah, I do got to move it on, but I will say where you and I disagree. I tend to believe that weakening a superpower without losing a single American life of any significance, yeah, it costs a little bit more. But we're weakening one of the world's greatest superpowers at no human toll expense to the United States. The cost of goods and services, inflation, that stuff will eventually go down. However, the length of time it's going to take for Russia to recoup from losing 100,000 folks, all of the military equipment and surveillance they've lost, it's probably going to take a generation or so for them to get that back, which is why we probably disagree on how Biden looks
I,
in
I mean, I,
regards to
di-
this.
I mean, I disagree with that. I mean, I know you got to move on, but I want to make one more point.
Sure, go ahead.
Every every time that the United States have been in a war or assisted a war, we always rebuild the person to better than they were.
Yeah. We've never been in a
So
war
I
where,
don't think. So I don't. So to answer the question, I don't think it's going to take Ukraine, however long you said, to rebuild with the
okay.
assistance of us.
All right, fair enough. So let me ask you this. Do you believe once Russia went into the Ukraine, do you think Biden should have helped them from a United States standpoint? Should we have sent them money and equipment at all?
I mean, I think we should have helped them, but I think you should have paid more attention to the civilians that are struggling, that are supporting this.
So if
You
we
know what I
had
mean? Like,
helped them from a lesser angle, would the Ukrainians still been able to put up such a fight?
probably not.
Okay. So last question. If we had helped Russia, or better yet, the Ukrainians, if we had reduced our help, isn't it safe to say Russia would have had a successful mission by now?
I would say yes.
Yeah. And what would we say about Biden if under his watch Russia was able to conquer the Ukraine, thereby strengthening Russia under Biden's watch? How would we judge him then?
I mean, you make fair points, but at the same time, like, I'm going to go back to what I originally said. I don't think it's fair that the U.S. citizens have to pay for a war that we're not even we shouldn't even be involved in.
Right. And I don't disagree with that, but I just wanted to point out to you that based on your own admission, Biden is going to look weak to you no matter what he does. Either he gets involved in this and he looks weak, or he doesn't and stands by, and you're going to say he's weak as well. So I don't think there's any good outcome, at
I
least
mean,
if you're on the other side of the aisle for Biden.
personally, personally, I think it would have been better for Biden to say, "Hey, look, this is the situation that we're in as a country. I don't think it's the right thing to do to just give millions and billions and trillions of dollars to your problem." I mean,
Yeah.
we as American citizens, I know you got to go, but one more thing. We as American citizens, we have our own situations. We have our own issues. We have crime that we need to tackle countrywide. We have unemployment that we need to tackle countrywide. We have people living on the streets countrywide. I mean, we have a lot of situations and a lot of problems that we could have made best with that money than to give it to another country. And I'm sorry that they're struggling. I'm sorry that they got attacked, and I'm sorry that everything else. But at the same time, I'm going to revert back to what I said. This country is more important. We, as a country, are more important than anything else going on outside of this country. You know, I
Uh-huh.
don't think it's
All
right
right.
that the United States has to be the military police of the world.
All right. Fair point. Come on back through anytime, man. Good talk, Jeff.
All right, thank you, buddy. Have a good day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What Jeff was saying in my previous call, and I'll go right back to the box. He's not the only one that says that. That's a very common statement. As opposed to dealing with folks overseas, why can't that money be used to deal with problems at home? My only pushback as a liberal in regards to helping veterans, helping out the homeless, and other entities that he named, the Ukraine was just attacked by Russia last February. All of the problems he named were currently existing at that time, and we were doing nothing about them then. Now, we could find patches of homeless individuals around the country that would tell you they were giving us housing, they were giving us clothing, they were giving us a little bit of help, but then they diverted the money to the Ukraine. Then I could understand. But at the end of the day, we were doing nothing about those problems before this even began, leading yours truly to believe that even if we took all of the money back from the Ukraine, all of those problems in America would still exist. Because the general response to helping these entities out has always been the same question. Who's going to pay for it? All right, going back to the box. New Jersey Nightmare. Good afternoon and welcome back to the program.
What's going
Nightmare.
on, bud?
Not much at all. Good to have you back. Right away, folks, tap the screen. MAGA friendly program. MAGA are my preferred guests. Get your boy up to 20,000 likes. No banning, blocking, or censoring. You know how we do it here. What's on your mind, Nightmare?
Listening to that guy before you, Jeff, made my head want to explode. Especially when he's trying to
Elaborate. Elaborate. What did he say?
a whole lot of nonsense, really. First off, let's go with the facts. Putin invaded Ukraine unprovoked. Putin and his people committing war crimes that boggle the mind, including the wholesale slaughter of families and entire villages, leaving their bodies in the goddamn street.
Well, but you do realize, particularly when I'm talking about MAGA, they believe the Ukrainians are the corrupt country. I've had folks on here who's expressed it clearly that they believe Putin is the good guy in that war.
And yet the record shows that to be patently false. They keep claiming about Ukraine of having a Nazi background. Okay, let's see if this tracks. Zelensky is Jewish, and a large section of his family were wiped out by actual Nazis in actual World War II. So no, not buying it. No.
So how do you respond to someone that would suggest that we should use that money to help out veterans and the homeless as opposed to sending it over to a foreign country?
I'd say let's take the money out of corporate welfare, the billions in tax breaks that we give them that they didn't need in the first place. Let's talk about the companies that are price gouging the living crap out of us, claiming inflation and damage from COVID when they're still having record profits, and they had record profits all during the pandemic as well. I mean, yeah, there were small companies that went out of business that were non-essential, but of the main essential ones, it was still a banner time. I mean, the oil companies have already made up for their losses from the pandemic from price gouging the crap of us not that long ago. But
what about the other side? In the comments, James Schmack is saying, but governments are corrupt. So in other words, if you go after corporate greed, the governments are very similar.
Hey, listen, I'll be the first one to say maybe it's about time that we clean house in our government from both parties. Just clean the entire place out and start again. Let's knock down our systems and rebuild them from the ground up so they work for the people.
How can you do something like that when whoever's in power is not going to participate with that?
Keep voting them out. We got to get more to the polls. I don't care who you vote for, just vote. I'm saying this to any and all Americans. I don't care who you vote for, just vote. It's time we get real numbers of 75, 80% of the population to the polls and not just barely 50% half the time. I mean, even in the last election, those numbers came out to what, 156 million? And yet we have a population of 330 million. There's got to be another 30, 40 million, 50 million votes there, the people that didn't go to the polls when they should have.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, I just also wanted to say, let's talk about real term limits for congressmen and senators, regardless of party affiliation, so they didn't get to sit on the same goddamn seat for 50 friggin' years.
That's not gonna, I hear term limits all the time, and I understand the desire for that, but my humble opinion is that's not going to change anything. It's not the fact that a politician can get in there and stay his entire damn life in the position. The problem is the rules. I could get rid of everyone in the Senate, everyone in the Congress, and put you and I in there and everyone watching, and we would all learn how to be crooks as well, because the rules allow us to do that shit. The lobbying, the money, all of that stuff. So
absolutely,
is not going to work.
No, I would agree. I would agree there definitely. We have to take the dark money out. We have to also stop the gerrymandering from both parties and make sure that voting is accurate, fair, and universal, like universal background checks on the Second Amendment. But anyway, we have to make sure the rules are universal for voting anywhere in the country, and the voting is fair and straight and equal, and keep an eye on everything and make sure that every proper vote is counted right.
So let me ask you in regards to the topic, because we kind of got a little strayed with his bringing into the Ukraine, and I don't mind talking about that at all because that's a fairly good subject. But in regards to the military, it appears that, we've seen this Chinese spy balloon last week. There's been a host of new objects over Canada, over the Great Lakes. The Defense Department, the Pentagon, is suggesting that under Trump, there were some of these items in the country as well, and it appears as if they did not tell him. So do we have an issue where the military does not trust the former president? I mean, if we had items violating our airspace, Trump would be the one who would be, it would be mandated that he know about this, right?
I think we have stuff violating our airspace, but I also believe that we've been violated the other nations all the goddamn time. every day,
that
24
doesn't
hours,
answer
7 days a week, all the live long day.
that's
We had
not
the most
answering.
powerful intelligence.
That's not answering the
Huh?
question I'm asking. The question I'm asking is when Chinese items violated our airspace under Biden, they let Biden know and gave him the courtesy of making a decision. It appears they did not advise Trump something was over the country. Why are they treating him differently?
We're making the assumption that they didn't advise them. We don't have the evidence on whether they did or did not. That's the
You think
problem.
Trump would have kept quiet if he had a Chinese device over this country spying on this country? You think Trump would have kept quiet about that?
If he was given a big enough paycheck, he probably would.
So you telling me Trump can be bought off?
We all know he can be bought off. He was bought off by the Russians long before he ended up becoming president. Come on now. We all know that.
How about General Milley or whatever?
Retired General Milley, yeah.
Yes, the suggestion that he actually contacted his counterpart in China right before Trump left office and let them know that if Trump gave any type of crazy order, they wouldn't follow it. That's a general in our military going around the president and letting our adversaries know we're not going to follow the order of our president if he gives some sort of ridiculous order. How do you view that?
I wonder what other orders he had ever given Milley that Milley thought was ridiculous and unlawful and unconstitutional and just flat out wrong, and Milley pretty much told him to fuck off.
Yeah, but can the general do that to the commander in chief?
If he is is he attempting to break in the law, harm the American citizens for all the wrong reasons, and being a downright, dictator? Yes, actually. If he's willing to violate the Constitution at the drop of a hat to appease some other group by slamming others, like the protests across the city, no. You know what? We already heard. He wanted National Guard to go in there and shoot people in the legs. Remember that? That alone should have got him in such hot water. Should be on the verge of impeachment. Quite frankly, for that alone, he wanted to commit. Come on, dude. We all know if they had actually done that. We all know what would have happened next. The bloodshed would have been beyond imagining.
Fair enough. I gotta move it on, Nightmare. Always a good talk.
All right, man. You take care. You have a great day.
Hey, you too. Look. Section opinion, and that's what we're trying to get, folks. I see in the comments someone stated that's an opinion. My humble opinion, even if the president comes across as a loose hand or a cowboy of sorts, the general should not have the power to make that type of a decision. Because if the general has that much power, he is essentially the commander in chief at that point. So it is my humble opinion that what the general did should have been addressed. But I understand the sentiment towards Trump is not very favorable in this country. Nevertheless, it appears he got away with one. But if that rumor is true, that general, that's a dereliction of duty. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Looking in the comments, Milley, he should be court-martialed. Yeah, that's what I would say. And I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm a liberal, but I mean, you have orders. You have to follow. Don't they take an oath to, answer to the commander in chief, the president of the United States? Isn't that what they do? Maybe I'm getting it wrong. I'm not military, so I'm not trying to claim that. But yeah, something seems wrong about that. Every military member, every military member has general military authority to question unlawful orders. Masonic century. Well, if you're going to question unlawful orders, kind of reminds me of A Few Good Men with Jack Nicholson, where the two young guys who did the Code Red. The fact is, if you're going to question unlawful orders, there is a procedure to do that too, isn't there? You don't he didn't question if President Trump was giving unlawful orders. He took it upon himself to act in a certain manner as if the orders that were unlawful were confirmed without getting any permission from anywhere else. He essentially stepped in as a pseudo replacement commander in chief and started going on his own way. I don't see how that could be legal. And I don't want anybody to view it as I'm siding with Trump. I'm just simply saying you got to be able to call a spade no matter who's dealing the cards. Because if it happens on your side, you got to be, you're going to call it wrong as well. All right, we'll keep it moving. Larry Long Pockets. That's a unique name. All right. Larry Pockets. Hopefully TikTok will not screw up again. And it looks like, there we go. All right. Good afternoon, Larry. Welcome to the program. It's our first time talking.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Possibly.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
So what do you think? Do you see the military as not trusting President Trump?
no, I really don't. Like you said, he's a commander in chief. I think if something like that would have happened, it would have been brought to the House, and the House probably would have handled it.
Well,
That's
that's
just my
assuming
personal thought.
that's assuming the powers that be in the House, such as Nancy Pelosi, is not okay with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I wanted to come on here and talk about the war on Ukraine, though. You guys kind of started off with all that.
Sure.
I find it interesting. I read a couple of articles and seen a couple of videos just over the past couple of days that I thought pretty interesting. All of this, according to those articles, all of this kind of started back in 2014.
Crimea.
There was talks over Crimea, and then the pipeline and stuff that was over there. One of the articles that I read mentioned that we had part in the destruction of the pipeline, and we made it look like it was the Russians that did it.
Yeah, but you do realize now your article you're stating suggests this started in 2014 with Crimea, but you do realize Russia had already invaded Ukraine. It took Georgia back in 2008, so they were already messing with this country before then.
Yeah, it somewhat started in 2008, but it really kicked off in 2014. Another thing that I think is interesting, those articles were talking about how we played a part in bringing down a regime in Ukraine and putting what is his name, Lizinski, putting the current president in place.
Zelensky, yeah, I don't doubt that.
So it might behoove you to check out those articles. I can't name them offhand.
I will respond by saying this: adversaries interfere with other elections. Adversaries interfere with elections of their adversaries all the time. That's the whole complaint that both North Korea, I believe Iran, and even Russia interfered with the 2016 election. Folks are suggesting that Russia installed Trump, because Trump was far more favorable to Russia than Hillary Clinton was. Now, I'm not here to suggest whether Russia interfered with the election or not, but there's no denying that Trump was more friendly to Russia than, say, Hillary Clinton. I mean, hell, even to this day, Russia is touting Tucker Carlson videos. So they do like folks on the right more than they do the left.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Trump was pretty good friends with Putin. What I'm gonna find interesting in the future, granted this doesn't go to World War III and turn to nuclear fallout, what I'm gonna find interesting is what happens to the president of Ukraine further down in the future, because most of the people that we've put in place, we've also taken out when they didn't want to work with us. Saddam Hussein, Bin Laden, even
do you really believe, unless we get a president that is 180 degrees of Biden, let's say Trump replaces Biden, then I could see having problems out of Zelensky. But if we get another liberal or even a moderate president, I think Zelensky is going to toe the line. Only time we're going to have problems out of Zelensky is if we get a president in there that believes Russia is the good guy. And I think Trump is probably the only person where we would have any problems out of Zelensky. Otherwise, my guess is Zelensky will retire a hero. If the Ukrainians can survive this war, he'll probably get a statue.
That's true too. One of the videos that I was watching, also, I want to kind of reference this. I want to say it was in 2014. Biden was on the I don't know, national news or something, talking about World War III will kick off the moment that we start sending tanks and our allies and stuff start sending tanks over to Ukraine. Here we are.
Yeah,
It kind
well,
of seems like it might have been
I
too much.
refer to that type of I refer to that type of stuff as Armageddon politics. In other words, if we do this, the world's going to end. If we do that, I remember hearing folks say if Obama won, he was going to take away everybody's guns, raise taxes to 70%, and turn us into socialist Greece because Greece was the failing country at the time. Now they're using Venezuela, but I don't buy into I don't buy into Armageddon politics. Same thing with Trump or Mitt Romney's going to put us back in chains. And I don't buy into that, but that's what they do to promote themselves.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely
Yeah.
see that.
And
But
that's
yeah,
what Biden was doing based on what you're talking about.
yeah, I wanted to give you some food for thought for those articles. If I had the
Sure.
names and the sources, I'd give them to you. But it's definitely worth a search. It was a good read, and the videos that I found that were linked to those forums were pretty interesting. Also,
Well, I do have my email address on the front of the page there. If you want to send it over, I'll give it a look. But until then, I got to move it on. If you do see me on, feel free to come on back through. You said you don't know if this is our first time talking, but it's always a pleasure. Come on back through anytime.
all right, man, take it easy.
You too. All right, looking in the comments. You bring the info, Larry. Yeah, I'd like to see it. Gear up, America. We are about to experience some difficult years. What is your definition of difficult years? Because every time Americans suffer, there are Americans that prosper under that same area. I mean, there are people who made a fortune off of COVID, even though allegedly millions of people were dying. I mean, there's always going to be people who are benefiting as well. So I'd like to know what you're suggesting is going to dictate us going through some tough times. Obama, Biden causing African slavery in Libya. Democrats vote for them again. They have no shame. How is Obama and Biden causing African slavery in Libya? Dan Storm, feel free to elaborate on that. I'd like to know what the Obama administration is doing or did and what the Biden administration is doing to cause slavery in Libya. That's the first I've heard it. All right, let's keep it moving. We'll go ahead and make it with Angel Martinez. Afternoon, Angel.
What's
I'm
up, man?
embarrassed. Hey, yeah, good afternoon. I'm real quick on looking at the comments here. I'm embarrassed of Biden. He is a greasy lion salesman selling us out to the highest bidder. How do you respond to that, Angel?
Listen, I don't like. I don't like what Biden's about. Okay, I just don't. Right, and you said it. Like, people made millions and millions of dollars off of COVID while other people died. Right. Who were the people that made millions of dollars off of COVID?
Well, we know the vaccine
elite.
makers made a fortune.
The elite, right? Pharmaceutical companies, COVID tests, right? I was good for $500 on COVID test in my household. You know what I'm saying? Like, add that up now by every person that spent all that money or going to the doctor to get COVID tests, right? So, I mean, that's just like, you look at it, man. You look at it. Is Trump perfect? No. Is any other politician out there perfect? Hell freaking no. None of us are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? None of us are. But
so when you say you don't like what Biden is about, elaborate. Give me some bullet points. What about Biden you don't like?
He's fake. He's been fake for a long time. I don't look at the senile Biden, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the dude is he's lost it. He can't even have a conversation without messing up 20 different words in a two-sentence conversation.
Did you see the State of the Union address the other day?
No, I didn't.
Because he didn't mess up like that. What you're talking about did not happen during that. I'd encourage you to go on YouTube and look that up. By the way, I'll let you continue, but folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 35,000 likes. As always, I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. Whether you agree with the host or not doesn't mean a damn thing. So, in regards to Biden having dementia, can't string together two sentences, I would encourage you to watch that State of the Union address.
And listen, I'm not saying he probably had a really good day. I've watched plenty of videos where he's made up some words. You know, and I was like, man, what's that word mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that word mean? So, I mean, regardless, I think he's just he needs to go, not because he's incapable of, being a president, right? We
But
talking
why
about
do you okay? But you say he's incapable.
yes of
You
making
got half the
decisions.
you got half the country that disagrees. Like for instance, in regards to making up words, you ever heard of bigly before?
No,
All right, so they make up words. I believe Obama came up with shellacking. I had never heard that shit before. They make
Say
up
what?
words.
I understand.
They-
I understand that, but my point
yeah,
is that like I just like I look at everything and I get it. Like look at inflation, right? When the other dude said like, "Oh, we're gonna be in hard times." Yeah, we're gonna be in some hard times. Food costs is out the roof. You know what I'm saying? Like it used to cost you what, $2, maybe $3 for a dozen eggs. Cost you $8 now. You know,
yeah.
and like I had like 2 chickens, and they were dropping eggs left and right.
But we've had high levels of inflation under past presidents before.
I understand that.
High inflation doesn't mean somebody is incapable of being president, does it?
No, it doesn't mean
You
that.
said he was
I'm just saying.
okay.
I'm just saying when he's talking about bad times, is food costs going up. Well, what do people need? Right? People need food. Right? That's the number one thing. Food and water. Right?
Right.
So that's just going on that topic right there. Like
Mm-hmm.
things will get hard. People are gonna struggle a little bit. You know.
Yeah, I don't disagree that people are struggling. However, we just went through the holiday season. We just had the Super Bowl. I don't see where people are, not traveling over the holidays or not buying big screen TVs for the Super Bowl. We are struggling and making some sacrifices. I agree with that. But the American life, it's not like we're living in a depression. I mean, most Americans are still getting what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm
So
saying? That is
it's
that.
bad, but it's not that bad. I mean, we're paying a little bit more for fuel, but it's not like when you drive on the streets, it looks like COVID because nobody can afford to drive. Americans are still living all right.
Some people are rebuilding. I got some people that are still hurting from COVID. You know what I'm saying? And that could be due to their own fault, maybe not being able to get out of it or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? That's none of my business or anything like that. But you know, COVID hurt a lot. You know what I'm saying? It hurt a lot. You know, we
Okay.
couldn't
Do
have.
you favor how President Trump handled COVID?
Well, he really wasn't in office long enough for COVID. I mean, that started in what, October, November of 2019, and
No,
then
well, yeah, you got to think it started in late
the
2019, and
yeah, which
Trump did not leave office until January of 2021. So he was in office for a year under that pandemic.
no, didn't he leave in 2020? He left
No,
in January.
the election was in 2020. He didn't leave office
Okay,
until
okay, okay,
January of 2021. So he
okay.
was in office for a flat over a year under the pandemic. Do you think he handled it right?
Yeah, my time frame is all messed up now.
Okay.
My time frame's all
Okay.
messed up now.
That's all right. That's all right. I mean,
But
but you do realize you did correctly state the pandemic came on the scene in late 2019. That is true. By
the
2020,
first case.
the pandemic was in full swing. Huh?
The first case came through in like
Yeah.
2019, like late 2019, and in
Right.
2020. Oh yeah, 2020. Okay, I got it. I got it together now. I got it
Yeah. So
together.
he had a solid year. Do you believe he handled the pandemic? Like, if you had to give him a letter grade, how would you grade Trump's handling of the pandemic for that year?
I mean, it wasn't a lot. Listen, I'd say I give him. I'd say it's a 50-50 split, right? And the reason why I say that is because he shut down. We shut down, right? Most of America shut
Mm-hmm.
down, and I'm in Florida, so like we opened up quicker than everybody else, you know. But we shut down, right? So I didn't get fired from my job, but I got laid off for a couple months or whatever, and and things were like, well, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta work, but everything shut down. Can't work. Can't go. Can't go work in a restaurant. Normally, what I do too. So
Yeah, but
because those places shut down.
what is a 50
So
50 split in school?
I
A
think he did the
50, if you
best.
get a 50 on a test, that's an F.
It's an F. It is. But remember, so he shut us down. So that was probably the best thing that we could have did for the time being, right? Because we're like, we don't know what's going on with this. Was he
But
working
did
on a
he
vaccine?
really? But when you telling people it should be your decision if you want to close businesses or if you want to take a vaccine or not. Is that really shutting things down? It's like a girl telling you, I want you to use a condom, but it's your choice. Is that really protecting yourself?
Well, we shut down. There was nothing about that. Now, taking the vaccine, listen, nobody's gonna force me to take anything that I know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna force me to do that. That's like saying, "Hey, I got this new drug. It gets you high, but I don't know what it does to you." You know what I'm saying? I have a choice to either take it, get high, right, or say, you know what, I'm not gonna mess with that because I don't know what that's gonna do to my body, right?
Okay.
So there's other vaccines that have been proven to work. This one, nobody knew nothing about it. He knew that. You know what I'm saying? But there was such a rush. We need a vaccine. We need a vaccine. We need a vaccine. Yeah, people died, but check it. Let's do some numbers now, right? So in 2021, July of 2021, right, the CDC came out. There was about 400,000 people that died from COVID. 400,000 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many were under the age of 18? Do you know?
Yeah, see, I don't know the actual numbers. I'm
Okay,
just
so
listening to
I'm gonna
what you
tell you.
say. I
I'm
don't.
gonna tell you, right? It was like 296 children had died from COVID in a year.
All right.
Okay, between 18 and we'll even say 18 to 50. 18 to 50 were about 17 and a half to 20,000 people had died from COVID. I know you got a phone call, so you can't probably hear me.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Right.
I can hear you time.
Oh, you can hear? So you
I can hear you.
Under the age of 50 was like about 20,000 people that died from COVID. Right? Do you know that over the age of 50, it was like 370 something thousand people died from COVID?
Yeah, so what's your point?
What's my point is, so what do all those people have in common?
Yeah, but you're giving information.
A lot of underlying conditions.
Yeah, but the problem is you're giving information based on hindsight knowledge. I'm asking you at the time when you didn't have all this hindsight knowledge, was Trump handling the pandemic correctly?
I think he was handling it to the best of his ability without making people lose their jobs, right? And then having to struggle with paying rent or getting things. I think he did the best that he can do. You know what I'm saying?
So you think going on television and letting, Dr. Fauci speak they went on television both together for about a month straight. And then after going on television, Trump would hold rallies and let his people yell out, fire Dr. Fauci and things like that. Then go back on TV with him the next day. Then go do another rally and let folks yell, fire Dr. Fauci. You didn't see no problem with that.
Well, there was a lot. I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of doctors said that Dr. Fauci was full of shit.
Okay, then why is Trump on television with a man that's full of shit?
Trump's on television with a lot of people that are full of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Why is that? During the pandemic, why are you on TV with people that are so full of shit that all of your supporters know it? How does that make him look?
Okay, but what was he supposed to do at that point?
Maybe find a different virologist?
Okay,
he didn't do that though.
Okay,
he's on television with someone that you're telling me the man is full of shit. His supporters were telling him that at every rally, yet he's continuing to go on television with the guy and let the guy speak when all he has to do is appoint another person over the COVID task force. So that doesn't make him look incompetent at all to you?
I don't know how that works though. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if does he have the power to do that? You know what I'm saying?
He doesn't have the power to fire Dr. Fauci. He could reappoint him somewhere else. But yes, he has the power to put someone else over the COVID task force. He could have easily done that.
Okay. So that takes him from he's at 100% Doing all that takes him down to what? 25? Takes him down 25%? Takes him down 25%? Takes him down 50? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know where he got the 100% to begin with, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, like, you start off with 100, right? Until you get something wrong. You know, so
Okay.
like I don't like. There's a lot of things that happened that weren't good for Americans. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of things that happened that were okay for Americans. You know what I'm saying? During COVID, no. During COVID, no. You know, a lot of people hurt.
Last but not least, I got to move it on. But in the beginning, you
Good.
stated that you don't like what Biden is about. How do you feel about the FBI suggesting that under President Trump, his rhetoric has led to an increase in white supremacist actions and hatred? Do you think they're making that up?
Listen, I've personally known people who were white supremacists. Okay, when I say know who they are. Okay, to state that Trump is a racist. Okay, racist people don't hang out. True white racist people do not hang out with people of color or different diversity. Asian, Spanish, doesn't matter. Okay, they don't hang out. They don't help. Trump has never been a racist. Okay, he's about money. So doesn't matter what color your skin is. You got money. You have ideas. That's what he's about.
So if a true racist would never hang out with people of the other side, why are there so many folks on the right that would suggest Biden is a racist?
Biden's not a racist. He plays the race card, though. I don't believe Biden's a racist. Okay. I believe he's the same. I believe he's the same way. But it's all about race. Listen, so many people have talked about it. Morgan Freeman says it. He says, well, get rid of Black History Month because Black history is a part of American history. He's right. Okay, but how do you get rid of racism? Stop talking about it. Stop acknowledging that you're a black man and that I'm a Spanish man and that he's a white man. No, we're a man. We're men.
Yeah, in my humble opinion, I think the notion that you can get rid of racism by not talking about it is probably one of the wackiest things I've ever heard. Because I don't believe any atrocity. I don't believe any atrocity will go away by people being silent. I mean, imagine if the Catholic Church and those who were being abused kept silent. Imagine if what was going on in Germany, which actually was allowed to go on due to silence. Anytime you see an atrocity taking place, keeping silent is probably the worst thing you can do because the folks committing the atrocity don't want anybody to know. So I don't think see like what I said afterwards, right? Like stop talking about it. It's not so much saying that don't speak up about racism when you see something happening, but it's more of calling somebody by their skin color. You see what I'm saying? That's not racism. That's just somebody's race or ethnicity.
I understand that, but when
that ain't what he was talking about, though. That is not what he was talking about. He said racism. He actually pronounced the word. He's not talking about race or ethnicity. He said stop racism by not talking about it. And I think that's a ridiculous solution. I don't think it would. I mean, imagine during the Martin Luther King era, if both Martin Luther King and folks who were against Martin Luther King just simply stopped talking about the Jim Crow era. You think it would have went away?
Well, is it really away? Like, did racism stop?
It stopped in terms of our laws.
But did it really?
No. Okay. That's a different argument.
Honestly, right? Because if you go back to the Clinton era, what did he implement into the law? Right? If you got 3 strikes, right?
That's not, but that's not, when I say racism, I'm talking about something that you are guaranteed to be a victim of simply by being born in that category. Every black person being born from earth is born from, just born is not going to be a victim of the 3 strike laws. I mean, I lived through all of that shit and I've never been arrested in my life. So I can't say I'm a victim of any of that. When you talk about Jim Crow laws, there was no way around that. No matter how you lived your life, you were guaranteed to be a victim of that.
I'm gonna look that up so I can get some good read on that. I'm gonna look that up.
All right, fair enough. I gotta move it on though, Angel.
All right, buddy. Listen, you have a good one, man.
You're always welcome back. All right. Looking in comments, everyone in this room, go on Netflix. I'm going to go ahead and plug this for you, Libis or whatever. Everyone in this room, go on Netflix and watch Who We Are. Get a documented view of this country. Unfortunately, this is very similar to the argument against CRT. A lot of folks do not want to know or confront who we are if it doesn't fit the narrative of how they think it should be portrayed. And I'm not saying one side or the other, but there are people who view America in a certain way, and they don't want to hear any counterpoints to the way that they view America and how America should be. So I appreciate your suggestion, but you know how that's going to go. Don Lemon said some people can't pull themselves up, and Morgan said yes, they can. Well, I don't know if there's, in regards to an American that cannot pull themselves up, that's debatable. All right, let me go back to the box. We'll keep it moving with Vaz, friend of the program. Always good to have Vaz on. Good, Vaz.
Yo, can you hear me?
Hey, yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think? The military is suggesting that under President Trump, they had balloons flying over this country, and apparently they did not advise Trump that there may be Chinese spy devices over this country. Is that unfair not to tell the commander-in-chief? Because they clearly told President Biden.
Yeah, it's incompetent. As the military, you're being incompetent. You're not. Why would you not tell the president, hey, we got a situation over here. We don't know exactly what it is, but we're taking a look at it. Just wanted to let you know.
Well, the rumors are that they did not trust, or they saw Trump as a cowboy, particularly on China, that he might lead it to some type of major military event.
Can you?
Vast. Okay, it looks like my caller is. All right, we'll keep it moving in. Apparently something's going on. All right, Trump may have started World War III with that information, says Crowbump. Well, the problem, though, is many folks will tell you that under Trump, we didn't have any military incursions like under Bush, Obama, and now Biden. Many folks say that other world leaders stood in line and knew not to mess with America under Trump, which is why we didn't have any problems. I'm not here to promote that theory, but I do hear it all the time. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 45,000 likes. Appreciate anywhere you want to be on tap. Fact here with your boy, I appreciate. Vaz, or better yet, let me keep it moving. I don't know what just happened there. What does that say? Dumb old distiller? Did I pronounce that right? Let's try it. As a former commanding officer, we simply did not trust Trump, plain and simple. K-Hawk, why is that? Good afternoon, Stiller.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the main reason people didn't trust Trump was the fact that he was an outsider. You got people that have been long life military people. You have people that are in the CIA, FBI, that are all there for life. They're not kicked out at the end of somebody's term. So they want to be ran by somebody that's a part of the problem, which is all of Washington. That's why the 22 elections, you've seen the Democrats do so good in races with people that were not from the Republican Party. Dr. Oz, Herschel Walker, the woman in Arizona, is because they were outsiders. And they're not going to allow outsiders in anymore. They want it to be all about the corrupt people in Washington.
Well, I hear that sentiment all the time that Trump was not a Washington insider, but I want to present this to you and you let me know what your opinion is on it. When Obama got elected as president, he had only been a senator for 2 years. He had no prior Washington experience before becoming a senator for only 2 years, and then he became the president of the United States. Now, when we look at Trump as an outsider, He was at Hillary Clinton's wedding. I mean, he's had long-term friends in politics for generations. I mean, Trump has been around Rudolph Giuliani in American politics for generations. So if we don't like outsiders, how did Obama do so well? How did Obama do so well? Because he's clearly an outsider.
Well, to be honest with you, that's pretty easy. Judge Joe Brown brought that up many a times. Obama's stepdad was a lawyer for the Bushes. He's been involved in Washington his whole life. So
But
that is a simple thing.
You see Obama's father being a lawyer for the Bushes as a tie-in to Washington politics, but you don't see Trump hanging around and donating money to all of these groups.
With all the CIA and everything else that the Bushes were involved in and everything, Judge Brown pointed out all the ties that make it really easy. I mean, you're right. He got elected to a seat in Chicago or in Illinois that was bought, and it's very easy to be bought by somebody like an Oprah that has more money to worry and that they can throw away, which I never realized before then about his dad having all the money that he had. But you also get into the simple fact that the next guy that tried to get that seat got the guy running the state thrown in jail because he was trying to sell the seat. So there's a lot of illegal stuff that has gone on in the world when it comes to politics.
Here's where you're confusing me with when you're saying that Obama, because of his dad and the Bushes, had a tie into Washington politics, but Trump, who donated money to Kamala Harris's campaign twice, went to the Clinton's wedding. I mean, he's been friends with Washington. Wait a minute, let me finish. Trump has a whole history of being friends with Washington insiders. How does he get an outsider label?
Donating doesn't make you a part of being inside of it. Being inside of it is being that you're a part of the machine. So, I mean, that would be like saying that Oprah. That'd be like saying, well, Oprah's gave a blue $1 billion to everybody running. Hell, she paid for the guy that can't even speak right now, hardly.
So you don't
money to run against Dr. Oz. So, well, wait a minute. Let me finish now. Let me finish, please, because you asked for that. I'm asking the same because of what I've seen from you is that you're really good, but there's a lot of times you love to throw an apple in the middle of a bunch of oranges to try to throw the topic off of what you asked. So I'm wanting a second here to talk, and then I'll be gladly to listen to you. Okay?
I'm listening.
What you're getting into? Oh, thank you. What you're getting into with all this stuff is the money is where it's all at. Rich people are donating and lobbyists are getting money to the people that make all the decisions. The people that stay in Washington all the time are not there by elections. They're there because they've been appointed to different positions that they don't get kicked out of because of every 4 years. You got all the leaders of your FBI, your CIA, you've got your generals. Like you said, a general decided not to take a direct command from a president because he didn't feel like it. That's not how that's supposed to work. Now, there are checks and balances. They are supposed to go back through, and if they don't feel something's right, they're supposed to bring it up and go through a series of things. They can't just say, well, screw it, I'm not doing it.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but I don't think any of that explains away the fact that Trump has a hell of a lot of ties to Washington politics that goes back years. Now, we can come up with all kinds of reasons for why.
He made a boatload of money, but he's not a part of the system. He owed.
What is part?
People in Washington owed him. He didn't know people in Washington.
Okay, so somehow because Obama's father worked for the Bushes, that makes him part of the system. But if Trump goes to a wedding or donates money, that gives him an exclusion. I don't see how you're defining this.
No, I'm not saying it gives him an exclusion from being a part of Washington. He was not a part of Washington. He was trying to buy his way into Washington to keep all his interest and things going on a business aspect. He's got a deal in 50 states.
You said Obama was a Washington insider. Based on what?
Right, from his family ties. From the ties that his dad had with the CIA and other things that the Bushes had ties in. you're going to see
So,
that there's more inside pull to bring that man into the fold than what there ever was for an outsider that was somebody that donated a bunch of money trying to make money, but that still didn't make them a part of the inside. And
yeah,
you could tell that as soon as he came down the stairs. Because
okay, see,
because everybody tried to crucify him when he walked through the doors of Trump Tower, and they're laughing him away when all everybody in this country wants was just a simple pay their bills, be able to afford food, be able to live the good life,
some of
not
this,
one that
yeah,
they
see,
were
some of
promised,
this,
but one
yeah,
that they
some
were
of this
told that they
don't.
could work for to have.
Okay, the whole birther thing where Trump was saying that Obama was born in a foreign country. Do you believe there's validity to that?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really care about any of that.
Right,
In
but
all
you
honesty, because it ain't got
mentioned,
nothing to
wait
do
a
with
minute, the
today.
reason I'm bringing that up is you mentioned how the minute Trump came down at Trump Tower, they were messing with him from day one. The point I'm trying to make to
Right.
you is when you're ridiculing the guy before you and saying he's born in a different country, the minute you win the office, you expect to not have anybody come after you after you've done that for the last few years?
Dude, they were coming at him before he ever got to office. Hell, they're still coming after him nonstop on stuff.
But in
I mean,
regards to the question I asked you,
When Adam Schiff stands up and lies in front of the American people every day on the 5 o'clock news saying, I've got proof that Trump did this. And when it's all said and done, the only thing they can say is, well, really, we didn't have nothing, but we've got this one paper where a guy said something, so we ran with it. Now we found out it was actually all paid by Hillary's campaign. We kind of screwed the pooch on that one. We just had to
but
let it go.
one of the things that I believe that gave Trump some of the biggest hurdles in his presidency for why people didn't resonate with him, when I asked you about it, your response was, I really don't care much about that. Fact is, you say
No,
that they were coming over, you said that they were coming
you're
after
asking
Trump.
about something different there.
You said that they
You're
were
asking
coming
something
after
different on
Trump
that.
before he became president. You said before he became president. And I asked you, before Trump became president, he was heckling the last guy saying he was born in a foreign country. Do you think that caused him any troubles? And your response was, I really don't care about that.
Dude, Trump was going to face trouble no matter what because they didn't like him. He's everything that nobody wants in Washington, somebody that don't care about Washington.
Yeah, but
When it really comes down to it.
ignoring, you can clearly see clear as
Well, I'm
day
not
when
ignoring
people.
nothing. You asked me what I thought about what he said about that, and I really don't care about that because I was worried about
Right,
what's going to happen for my country, and
right.
that's what
And
I
that's the
want to
point
see.
I'm making. That's the point I'm making is that you can see clear as day when Trump's adversaries are wrongfully attacking him, but when he attacks somebody else, you really don't care about it.
No, I said that stuff because that's what they do. That's what they all do. They bicker back and forth about crap, and here's where you're throwing another apple in a pile of oranges because you're trying to switch it up. Obama had many things that never got questioned, and that was great because nobody wanted to question us. I could care less about that. For the 8 years he was president, I seen a lot of things go to crap in this country. And
Okay.
it was okay because, well, it was all right for the rest of the country to have to start paying more for gas and food, not just the left cities and states, because they always had to pay a lot because they've always had things stolen from them because they weren't able to keep things in house. If you look at this country as a whole from beginning to
So you believe that when Obama took over the country from President Bush, the economics in this country got worse?
No, I'm saying everything got worse. Everything got worse from the time you had 2000 hit until 2016 because everything turned into, all right, let's just take a crap on everything by both parties. And they did because the only thing any party was worried about was what power can we get, not what can we fix.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's been forever.
Right.
I mean, do you not see that as a whole? Do you think, I mean, Obama did a world tour. Please let me apologize for this country that is really the richest country in the world. China has the ability that they could have been, but because of the way they did things and people weren't allowed to go out and do things on their own and make money, it all went to the state. So therefore, why do they care? Because they're just trying to stay alive and eat a little bit of food. Same thing with Russia. You get all these other places in the world that have resources, but we're not going to use their resources the right way. We're going to offer up that we'll pay 10 times more for their stuff so they can at least be at the table with us.
Well,
This country,
let me
since it
interrupt
was
you
founded,
now.
has been
I will
ripped
just
off.
say, as a voter that leans right, and I have no problem with that. You're always welcome back. I just simply see you viewing Obama as a totally different way than most of the country does. Economically, most Americans think that the country did far better under Obama than you're giving him credit for. But you are entitled to your
Well,
opinion.
I
I'll give you the
lived it.
last
I
word.
mean,
I
I
got to
lived it
move
in
it
the
on though.
Midwest. Can I ask where you're from, roughly? I mean, I don't want,
Chicago.
but just
I'm
roughly.
from his home. I'm
All
from
right.
his
So
hometown. I'm from
this
Chicago.
is a prime example. All right, this is the prime example. Let's say in 2002, what were you paying for gas in Chicago?
I have no clue. That's 21 years ago. I don't remember.
Oh, all right. Well, I can tell you it was less than $1.50 here, and I live in Southern Indiana.
Okay.
I know my milk was under $1 a gallon. I know hamburger was $1 to $1.25 most of the time. But what I'll say is, I know you paid quite a bit more in your area than what we have to where we're at. So
Okay.
there's several spots, like your Chicago, like your New Yorks, like your Miamis, like your LAs, your Dallases, where they gouge the crap out of people. So I could see why you would say things were looking way better all the time, because as your prices didn't change during those times and you had the ability to do more with your money, our money has been dwindling the whole time because we have to keep paying more and more and more. And everybody keeps saying, well, businesses can't afford to pay this, or this can't happen, or that can't happen. It's just jobs have to go overseas because the American worker just can't work. That's it. We got to be a service industry and not provide goods. We just got to provide services. Without being able to provide goods, you've totally ruined this country. And that's what I seen under Obama. There was 1 million restaurants opened up on well, actually under Clinton. I've
Okay.
said this before. Under Clinton,
I
this
do
country
gotta
became
move it
the.
on, man. But like I said,
All
anytime you
right.
come
Well, I
on back,
appreciate talking to you, and I hope to talk to you again if you let me.
you certainly will be let in. Appreciate you coming through. All right. In the comments, who said that? Forever his daughter said he just somebody to talk to. Be nice. I listen, let me make it clear. As I often say, this is a MAGA friendly program. The fact that you may disagree with the host doesn't mean a damn thing. And I do make the promise that I don't censor or ban anyone for their commentary. Now, obviously, me and the last guest probably didn't agree on anything, but I do value his opinion. I value his right to speak, and that's why he was not banned or blocked during it. But yeah, my humble opinion, if you look at the economics under President Obama, for the most part, the country views that time as successful. I don't think that most Americans look back between when would Obama have taken office? January 2009 to January 2017. The housing crisis he bounced us out of and things like that. Yeah, I don't see where most Americans look back during that time and say that was an utter failure. And as you've seen with President Trump, getting rid of Obamacare has become almost impossible because Americans like it. So, hey, listen, at the end of the day, we're always going to have a difference of opinion, and I invite folks on all day, every day that does have a difference of opinion. By the way, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 50,000 likes, 600 plus of us in here. You could be anywhere, but you're here with me, so it's an honor. All right, looking in the comments, what does that say? That's why we love you. You really value others' opinion as of yourself. As Starfire, thank you for that. All right, let me go straight to the box. Big Tom. Let's make it happen. What did I say? Something about Reagan. I was trying to catch it. You guys be pretty responsive on the comments. I do appreciate that. Host MAGA friendly. I can't listen to lies. Look, at the end of the day, MAGA sees a bunch of things that liberals say is lies as well. So both sides believe the other side is lying about every damn thing. That's why I like to bring us all together, have a civilized conversation in my tiny ass corner of social media. They can do this anywhere. They just don't try it. So we make it happen on a civilized aspect. I don't know what's happening to my guest in the box. Something must have went on with TikTok here. Obama got us out of a Great Depression. Listen, the economy was not doing great when Obama took office, but we weren't in a Great Depression. It wasn't that fucking bad. By the way, if you like this type of civilized dialogue, feel free to follow the program. It helps out the algorithms. As I say all the time, this is a MAGA-friendly program. MAGA are my preferred guests, but nevertheless, liberals are welcome. I tried to bring on a guest. Apparently something is going on. We'll try it one more time with C.C. Hancock. I don't know what is happening here, but I believe in the government. Depends on from what aspect Jew beats. In regards to whether I believe in the government, I would tell you this from a minority standpoint. If America was left up to the devices of the people and we did not have big government, I don't know for certain if I would have equal rights, because the individual states never seem to want to give them to me. So I can't turn around and look at big government in Janet Jackson style and say, what have you done for me lately? Because whether it's the Emancipation Act with slavery or the Jim Crow era under Lyndon Johnson, that came from big government. The individual states was pushing against all of that shit. Good afternoon. Who do we have in the box? I can't see it.
CC?
Okay, Cece, good afternoon. For some reason, TikTok is acting funny, so I don't see you there, but I can hear you. Have you been listening in on, did you hear my last guess?
Oh, I heard part of what he had to say. I had to put the phone down, but I've been on here for a little bit.
Okay. What happened? What did you get busy, or was it the guest himself?
Well, a little bit of both.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Help me to understand what these people are talking about. I mean,
well, there are people who believe that Trump had the best vision for this country, and essentially his presidency was nothing short of almost perfect.
Really?
I mean, I'm just giving you my analysis, but there are people who really favor the direction Trump took the country in.
Well, what direction was he taking us? I don't. What direction? I mean.
Well, I'll give you some bullet points that folks who support Trump tend to believe: border security, putting America first, a nationalistic attitude, being free to speak how you feel without fear of censorship or being banned. Different areas of that. That's kind of the direction that they favor.
Well, the only thing I saw Trump do was cage a bunch of children.
Well, you're going to get the pushback that it was happening under the Obama administration too.
Yes, he did it too. I believe that there was it was handled differently.
How so?
Don't you believe that? Because I don't think that he was ripping the mothers or the fathers away from the children.
Well, then you're not separating families then. If Obama separated families, then he would have to be taking the mothers from the children, wouldn't he?
No, I'm saying Obama kept them together.
Oh.
Trump is the one who separated the children from their families, young children.
So let me ask you this: taking Obama out of the equation and filling them in with Biden, how do you feel Biden is doing in terms of securing our border?
I think there could be more work to be done. I look at it this way. We are some ungrateful people in this country.
Elaborate. How so?
Well, we live in America. You know, this is supposed to be the greatest country of all. and we are so we don't care. People don't realize, apparently, the stuff that's going around in these other countries where we are trying to help them, like Syria, for instance. They don't think that we should be in there. Well, thank God somebody's in there to help those people.
Yeah, but so how do you feel when folks would suggest we have famine and struggling in this country and we can't be the world's police? Do you believe we should be on the world stage trying to police the rest of the world?
I don't think we should be there to police, but I think that yes, we need to be there to help these poor countries, and not just the U.S. Other countries as well should be
But
there.
can we really afford to help everybody that's being mistreated around the world? Because we're talking about Syria, we often talk about the Ukraine, but in reality, just about every country in Africa could use some help.
Yes, I agree. There's so many that need help, and it should not be just the U.S. But we are there to help. Do we have a lot of issues in our own country? Yes. Yes, we do. But a lot of people, I believe, that are homeless want that. It's hard for me to say that because I've never been in that position, but I do believe that there is help for these people. And I believe that the state does probably give these people a check every month, but they choose to stay on the streets because they would rather spend their money elsewhere.
So if you're giving them assistance and they're choosing to stay in that same condition because, as you say, they want to spend their money elsewhere, should you continue giving it to them?
Yes. Yes. We have to. We have to help them. We have to help them. I mean, they're not.
How are you, if they're choosing to spend their money elsewhere, how are you really helping them? What are you doing for them at that point?
Well, they have to eat. They have their needs. I just think that they have been put in situations that is hard to get out of, and it be just like somebody coming out of prison after years. It takes some adjusting. It takes a lot.
Yeah, but you just said they're choosing to stay on the street.
I think they're choosing because of the drug issue. So
if you continue giving them money while they're making these choices, wouldn't it be safe to say you're funding a drug habit at that point?
Yeah, more or less, yes. Yes.
And you're okay with that?
No, I'm not. I'm not okay with that. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Well, you can start by not giving them the money.
Yeah. And then what's going to happen? Then we're going to have more crime. We're going to have more crime.
So essentially you're paying drug addicts not to become criminals.
Yep, more or less. Sad but true.
Yeah, that's real bad. There's got to be a better solution than that, Cece. Come on.
No, I'm not saying I'm just saying it's probably very hard for these homeless people to have a proper living. They've been doing this for so many years. It probably frightens them to have their own home, have.
Yeah, I don't doubt what you're saying, but with anyone who wants to get off of any substance, the first issue is actually confronting your demons. If somebody's giving you money so you can continue getting high, that person is never going to confront their demons. Now, if you stop giving them money and they commit crimes, then they're now going to fall victim on what happens when you commit crimes. But nevertheless, you have to find a way to get them to confront their demons. You can't just pay them off.
No, I agree. But this is the way they've been living for years. I mean, and look at our vets. I mean, that are choosing the same type of living. I mean, what is bringing them? Why? What is bringing them to want to be homeless? Is it Is it drug
Well, the
abuse?
free checks. Maybe the free checks are what's doing it. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going to get some, huh?
What I'm saying, the money. I don't think they're getting that much money. To tell you the truth, I don't think that we're paying.
I don't think they're getting a lot of money either. But if you're giving them enough money to sustain some type of a comfortable lifestyle where they can go to their tent and get their drugs, you kind of are removing any type of motivation to improve.
I agree. I agree. They definitely need help. That is something that should be addressed to all of them. That we're here for you. We're here to help you. We can't continue to give, although that's what we've been doing. You've got to do something for yourself.
Now, let me ask you, do you identify as liberal or Democrat?
Yes.
Okay, so do I. Don't tell anybody what you just said because that's going to kill us. Don't repeat that anywhere, okay? That's not going to help us. So please don't do that.
I know. I just feel for them, honey. I just feel bad for people that are.
I get it, but
Yeah.
don't tell anybody that because that is because you're perpetuating that issue out there in California and in Oregon and some of these areas. Because, like I said, if they can live in an area where that tent and that their belongings is fitting their needs and they want to get high or get drugs, and you're also giving them the money to do that, there is zero motivation for them to get out of that situation.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But again, I think a lot of them fear it. I think they fear starting out on their own or doing for themselves.
But you got to make them do it. I mean, I agree, but yeah, you can't just keep funneling money to them so that they stay right there in that position. I understand it might be a little nerve-wracking to get out there and do it, but you're gonna have to be an adult and get yourself better.
I agree. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you, and I feel bad for them. That's their community. That is their community, and we look at them. I think we look at them in a different way, and I don't think that's fair either. I mean, we have a lot of addiction, a lot.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine having that to deal with on a daily basis. We need.
No, I can't either. No, I've never. You're talking to a guy who's never even had so much as a beer or a wine cooler in his life. So I've never tried anything. Never tried cigarettes. Never tried marijuana. I'm about as virgin lungs, virgin everything you can get. But I can understand because I've had my own dad, being candid, died of drug abuse. So I know what it's like. I've watched it. I've just never tried the stuff myself. But nevertheless. You don't want to enable someone. I mean, I get the situation they're going through. I understand the struggle, from what I've seen from it as an outsider, but enabling people is only going to make them continue doing it. I just don't see any way where that's going to, it's not going to benefit us at all, and it's going to piss off the taxpayers come election time.
Oh, yeah. Well, they stay pissed off anyway. They stay pissed. I just there was a dude who was building these little facilities. I cannot remember what state it was in, but he was building these little rooms, and a place for them to sleep, a place for them to go to the bathroom, little areas, little small areas, and I think that's what we need around the country is have a soft place for them to land.
But you can't give them a soft place to land if they're doing drugs on the runway. I mean, even if you're giving them a little tiny cell of a home somewhere to call their own, but they're sitting in there lighting up or shooting up, people are not going to like that. I mean,
I agree.
We can offer assistance, but we can't offer assistance to somebody who's getting high while they're getting the assistance. People are just not going to agree with that. But CC, I do got to move it on.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for bringing me on. I watch you all the time.
Oh.
I love you. I think you're the best, and you got more damn patience than I do.
You know what I always say, I always enjoy hearing folks from the other side. So the only way you're going to do that is to have a patient soul. So come on back to Anytime. The world needs more people like you. You're just not going to do good in American politics. But nevertheless, it's a pleasure. Come on back to Anytime.
Thank you, honey. You have a good day.
You too. You too. Folks, you know what I say around this time. Yeah, Josie Wells, appreciate the hat and mustache. Thank you for your generosity. As always, it's a MAGA friendly program, but liberals are welcome too. Like I said, the whole point of this type of dialogue is to show that if you can have someone such as myself speaking to folks like yourselves, different backgrounds in the audience, nevertheless, they can do the same damn thing in Washington. They're just not trying. So that is the whole purpose of this. My tiny ass corner of social media is to show that folks from all different backgrounds in regards to the political spectrum can have civilized discourse. We don't even have a moderator on this program, and yet we make it work every single day. So don't tell me this cannot be done. You just got to find folks who want to do it. We do it all the time. I get folks from as far left as Bernie Sanders to as far right as Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we make it work. As always, this is this is a lunch break live, to get my wording correctly. And as this time comes upon us, I do have to get back to work, but I do appreciate the fact you guys have tuned in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.